Student, welcome to our official online video learning courses, and myself Professor Ashok Kumar, working in Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today we are going to discuss a very special chapter, and that is power screw. Basically this chapter comes in fourth semester Mechanical Engineering Department subject, Fundamental of Machine Design. See, terms power screw, we have seen and listened numbers of times that something that we are fastening table and chair, doors and hinge. We have used frequently a word term, word screw. But in mechanical engineering, there is a power screw and has a little bit different meaning that of what we use for our regular purpose. Power screw is generally defined as the device which convert rotary motion to linear motion for the purpose of transmission of power or torque. So generally difference clearly look like that simple screw just it is used for only fastening purpose, whereas power screw stand for the purpose of conversion of rotary to linear and for the power transmission. Then we have seen a few example. Let's take a few example where the power screw are being used. Number one example is the we have all work on lathe machine. So exactly below tool post, you look that there is a threaded shaft. So this is nothing other than the power screw, because it is directly coupled with an electric motor. Whatever the power received by electric motor will be get converted through this power screw, and power screw transmit that power to tool carrier. So ultimately tool carrier moves in reciprocating way. So we can say that the rotary motion of an electric motor is converted to linear motion of linear motion of tool carrier. So this the here in both of the condition, either of power transmission or conversion of motion is fulfilled. So this is definitely power screw. Second example that you have also seen numbers of time, that in an automobile garage, where automobile mechanics frequently use screw jack. Basic purpose of screw jack is to lift up the vehicles or the four wheelers. So you might see in in that cases screw jack, there is one handle which is rotated by automobile mechanic, and one shaft, threaded portion of that shaft will move up. So it is nothing but the power screw. Third and very common to everyone for us example is machine wise, testing machines, universal testing machine, yes, in civil department laboratories, all are the examples of power screw. Look at have the few advantages and disadvantages. Power screw has advantages of it can carry the high load or heavyweight vehicles. Yes, of course, in automobile garage, screw jack lifting heavy-weighted vehicles, four-wheelers or other automobile parts. Second advantage is that it has the very compact construction, occupy very much less size and shape. Design and manufacturing of screw jack is very simple. Mechanical advantage you are getting is very much high. It offers very precise control motion. That means in case of UTM, if you are using power screw, then for the testing purpose we require very accurate movement of ram. So this is fulfilled by power screw. So we can say that the precisely motion is definitely achieved if you are using power screw. Of course, cost and reliability, power screw has high, and its operation is very smooth and noiseless. So these are the few advantages of the power screw. Along with that advantages, few limitations are also there. First and most limitation, adverse limitation, is that any kind of power screw offer up to only 40% 40% of efficiency. Secondly, because of threaded parts, wear and friction are very much high. So these three are the disadvantage or demerits of the power screw. Now look at the terminology. See, terminology, that means terms associated to identify any object or any mechanical parts. There is terminology. So herein you are looking that look at the screen. There are 8 terminology which identified any power screw. First terminology is nominal diameter. Actually, it is the largest or the outer diameter, and if you are measuring it, so you have to measure the distance between two crests of the thread, and the distance measured by you should be perpendicular to power screw. That is nominal diameter. Then after core diameter or small diameter, and it is also a vertical distance measured between two roots of the threads. Once again, it's the distance which you are measuring between two threads should be perpendicular to the power screw axis. Then after mean diameter, it is simple and average diameter of outer and inner diameter, so do plus di upon 2. Then after pitch, see, term pitch is very much famous, and you can also find in some other machine component parts also, like gear. So pitch comes in picture when the repeatedly parts are there in any machine component. For example, teeth are repeatedly parts. In case of our power screw, thread is repeatedly part. So pitch is defined as a distance between 2 points or two successive or corresponding points between two threads measured along the power screw axis. That is the pitch. And the pitch can be easily calculated by using mathematical relation with inner or outer diameter, like that. Core diameter is equal to outer diameter minus pitch. So from that relation you have easily calculation of pitch. Then after lead, if you are rotating any power screw by 360 degree or 1 revolution, then whatever the displacement traveled by that power screw, that displacement is generally known as a lead. And mathematical relation of lead with the pitch is lead is equal to numbers of stars multiplied with pitch. Then after helix angle is simple an angle made by helices of thread or even simple flanks of thread with vertical plane. That is a helix angle. And mathematical relation to calculate helix angle is tan alpha is equal to lead upon pi d. Seventh terminology is right hand thread. Suppose thread slope is moving from left to right in upward direction, then the thread will be right hand. And if slopes move from the right to left in upward direction of any power screw, then it will be the left handed thread. Then after times to discuss about the types of various forms of thread, and starting with the square thread. Look at the diagram, you are also able to understand it because the flanks of square thread are arranged in 90 degree with each other. That's why the name given square thread. The basic characteristic of square thread is that it can transmit the power in both of the direction. Yes, for the manufacturing, if we are talking about the manufacturing part of square thread, then it requires special tooling and machineries to produce the square thread. Generally, screw jack and clamping devices wherein square thread are being used. Second types of thread is trapezoidal thread, and flanks or the helices are arranged 30 degree with each other. Generally, as in case of square thread, both the directional power can be transmitted by using trapezoidal thread. So this is advantage. Generally used in machinery, machine tools, lead screw, that means in lathe machine, and small power transmission devices. It can be easily manufacturing by simple tap and die, and on lathe machine also you can cut this type of thread by using cutting tools. So this is what the trapezoidal thread. Acme thread is the thread types number 3, and it is very similar to as that of the trapezoidal thread, except there is a little bit difference between helix angle. There is the 29 degree of flanks in place of 30 degree. Other characteristics of the Acme thread is very similar to that of trapezoidal thread. Then after last one is the buttress types of thread, and it have the very specific application. Look at the diagram, you will find that there is a actually combination of square and trapezoidal or Acme or V thread. Generally flanks are arranged with vertical plane having the 45 degree, and used in vices and clamping, and special attention or need to focus is that the such type of buttress thread are used whenever the we require to transmit power or load in one directional only. So this is its some specific application. Also, diagram indicates a few geometrical relation between pitch, between height, between width, etc. Then after there is a comparison between square and V over acme or trapezoidal thread. Profile angle in case of square thread is 60 degree, whereas in case of V thread there is a 0 degree, because there is a straight flank are there in case of V thread, so there is no profile angle. Strength is high in case of square as compared to V thread. Load carrying capacity, of course, square thread has more than V thread. Efficiency of square thread is little bit more than that of the V thread. Radial pressure acting, of course, in case of square thread, whereas there is no radial pressure in V thread. And manufacturing is little bit easy if you have the special machinery for square thread as compared to V thread. Cost economical square thread is more than that of the V thread. Then after it's time to discuss about the torque analysis. Torque analysis, that means torque required to whether the lowering or the lifting the load. Over here we are going to discuss about torque required to lift the load, that means to raise the load, not lower the load. And second thing that you need to focus upon it is that we have taken in this theory especially square type of thread. So this is two things, it is the basic condition for the torque analysis here. And now look at the diagram that you have given. Left hand side diagram, there is a one block and four kind of forces acting on it. Straight weight W is acting in downward direction, and that straight weight, due to straight weight W, there is a normal reaction acting in upward direction perpendicular to normal surfaces, whereas P force is acting in horizontal forward direction, which is responsible to move up the load, whereas frictional force is definitely acting in opposite direction to that of moving body. So ultimately this diagram is truly representation of any power screw, because this diagram shows that there is a P force which is responsible to raise the load. Of course, we are applying a power in case of screw jack for the lifting of load, we have to apply load P. So here over here P is responsible to lifting the block or load. Over here there is a mu, that is resistance force acting in opposite that of P. So in actual manner in screw jack, if you are applying force P, then definitely screw thread offer resistance force to opposite direction. So this is also true. For example, here W is acting in straight downward direction. In real cases, if you are lifting a car, then car weight is acting straightly downward direction. So this is also true, and normal reaction always act in upward direction to that of the straight weight W. First of all, to calculate torque, we need to have the value of effort P that is required to put at the end of lever. So for calculation of that force P, look at the diagram carefully. You will have the four forces, and just need to resolve that all those forces in horizontal and vertical plane. Bottom side we have resolved it in horizontal side, whereas in case of right hand side, bottom right hand side, we have resolved all forces in vertical plane. So ultimately we are getting two relation. Equation number 1, P cos alpha is equal to W sin alpha plus mu Rn, whereas in case of right hand side, equation number 2, normal reaction is equal to P sin alpha plus W cos alpha. One more thing, that is right hand side diagram is the triangle. Actually it is not triangle but is scalar diagram. Look at the bottom base of triangle is identified by pi d, whereas height of the triangle is represented by P. So actually it is the one single thread taken for the analysis, and the relation between pi d, that means peripheral distance of that thread, and pitch has been drawn to scalar diagram. And of course we have already seen in case of terminology relation between lead and pitch, so it will be highlighted by tan alpha. So both of the sides can be can be joining by closing side of diagonal with an angle alpha. Then just you require to put the values of equation number 2 into 1. You are getting P cos alpha is equal to W sin alpha plus mu bracket P sin alpha plus W cos alpha. Just by separating out terms P left hand side and W terms on right hand side. So ultimately you are getting P is equal to W into sin alpha plus mu cos alpha upon cos alpha minus mu sin alpha. But we know that mu is equal to tan phi and tan phi is equal to sin phi upon cos phi. By putting that value on the above equation, you are ultimately getting P is equal to W sin alpha plus sin phi upon cos phi into cos alpha upon cos alpha minus sin phi upon cos phi into sin alpha. Just by taking LCM of that equation, you are getting that the P is equal to sin alpha into cos phi plus sin phi into cos alpha upon cos alpha into cos phi minus sin phi into sin alpha. Now we know that the trigonometric relation sin x plus y is becomes sin x plus cos y plus sin y into cos x, like that. So ultimately your equation will be reduced. P is equal to W sin alpha plus phi upon cos alpha plus phi. Ultimately P is equal to W into tan phi plus alpha or alpha plus phi. So this is the torque required to overcome thread which is produced between screw and nut. And that is suppose from that equation of effort P you require to calculate the torque, then T is equal to, or T1 specially mentioned, T1 is equal to P into dm by 2. So ultimately torque T1 will be W tan alpha plus 5 into dm by 2. So T1 herein is the torque which is only required to overcome thread friction between nut and screw thread. Now suppose there is a screw jack and collar is used. So of course collar is also providing some kind of resistance torque. So for that you need to calculate the torque T2 which overcomes the collar resistance torque offered by collar. So for that there are two famous theory. One is uniform pressure and other is uniform wear theory. Look at the equation T2 for both of the cases. Generally uniform pressure theory is applicable whenever you are using new screw or screw jack, and uniform wear theory is applicable whenever you have the old screw jack or any power screw. So by summing both of the torque, you will have the total torque which is responsible for the raise the load. So T becomes T1 plus T2. Then after efficiency, there are basically two types of efficiency. One is screw thread itself efficiency and other is overall efficiency. Suppose we are talking about the screw thread efficiency, then it's the simple ratio of the effort without friction to effort required with friction. So ultimately we have already derived that the P is equal to W tan alpha plus 5. In that equation you are finding that there is a frictional angle phi. So of course it is actual force required or frictional force. So by taking the ratio of both of the equation, you will have ultimate equation is equal to W tan alpha upon W tan alpha plus 5. In case of without friction, consider 5 is equal to 0. So multiplying with 100, you will have the percentage of that screw thread efficiency. Now second efficiency is overall efficiency, and it's simple ratio of ideal torque to the actual torque required to raise the load. Once again, ideal torque, that is without friction torque, and actual torque in which you need to calculate frictional angle or frictional force too. So finally, suppose you are taking the ratio of the both of the terms, then W tan alpha into dm by 2 upon T1 plus T2, and if you are multiplying with 100, you are getting overall efficiency. Then after two terms very famous and numbers of time in exam also such type of theories have been asked. So that is the self-locking and overhauling. We all know that in order to lower down the load, we require effort P is equal to W tan 5 minus alpha. That is the equation for lower down the load, not raise the load. Suppose in case of 5 is equal to friction angle and alpha is equal to Lx angle. Suppose in that particular equation, if friction angle is less than the Lx angle, that means 5 is less than alpha, then effort will be negative, P will become negative. That clearly means that you need not to apply the force P at the end of lever to move down the load. Load will automatically move down by rotating itself power screw in downward direction. So P negative means there is nothing to do with by pushing effort at the end of lever, load will automatically move down. So this is condition. If you are finding anywhere, then definitely it will be the overhauling. But similarly, if you are finding that the friction angle is greater than that of the helix angle, then your equation for the power will become positive. P become effort become positive. That clearly messages that you required to put or apply some kind of force at the end of lever. So it is self-locking condition of any power screw. And suppose someone say that prove that the self-locking screw has less than 50% of efficiency, then just simply you have to go through basic equation of efficiency that we have already discussed, tan alpha upon tan alpha plus 5. By putting the values of 5 is equal to alpha on that equation, ultimately you have tan 5 upon 2 tan 5. And by putting the trigonometric relation of tan to 5 and make simplification, you will have n is equal to 0.5 minus 10 square 10 5 square upon 2. So from that relation it is clearly mentioned that any self-locking screw has the efficiency less than 50%. Then last part that we are going to discuss here about the types of stress. Of course, due to direct load, first type of stress is direct compressive stress, that is the P upon cross sectional area. Secondly, our power screw is also transmitting torque, so definitely torsional shear stress is also there. So Q torsional shear stress is equal to 16 into T upon pi dc cube. And then after principal stress comes into picture, actually it is the many theories has been invented by many scientists and engineers, and it is basically the combinational theory, like maximum shear stress theory and maximum normal stress theory. Fourth stress theory is the direct shear stress theory, because the weight W, direct shear load is acting on thread of nut and power screw itself, so it breaks in shearing action, so it causes shear failure. So in case of screw, direct shear stress will be P upon pi dc and T, where dc core diameter stands and N for numbers of thread and T for the thickness of thread. Similarly, in case of nut, there is little bit difference, P upon pi do and T. Do stand for the outer diameter. Once again, there is also common contact between threads of nut and power screw, so there will be a bearing pressure in between them. So bearing pressure should be calculated. Bearing pressure P is equal to P upon pi by 4 do square minus d6 square into N, or you can also put the equation P upon pi dm N into T, where do outer diameter, dc is equal to core diameter, or dm is equal to main diameter. Herein N is equal to numbers of thread. If you have not given numbers of thread, then you can easily calculate by taking ratio of height of thread H upon pitch of thread. Once again, thickness if not given, then thickness generally should be taken as half of that of pitch P by 2. So this is what we have discussed about the power screw introduction, its types, its comparison, torque analysis, its efficiency, and finally we have also discussed about the stress part, stress analysis. Thank you very